Good morning, this is Jack from Shark in the Markets, and this is the pre-market webinar for the morning of Monday, the 19th of May. My disclaimer, I do this for educational purposes only. I'm here to share my technical analysis with you. I hope you can take some of what I'm doing in learn from it, transfer it to your own charts. I'm not here to issue trading signals. Right. Okay. All right. ES, I wrote a post on Friday, so if you haven't seen it, you should read it. And I was talking about the RSI 5 hitting over 90 on the daily charts, and how this generally results in a couple of weeks of consolidation stroke retracement. And I think we're getting started on that here. We still need to break a bit of support. We need to get particularly under the weekly pivot here on ES and NQ. We're slightly below it on RTY, and we're slightly above it on YM. YM, you'll notice, has hardly moved at all. Because if we were, ES has had a decent little dump from the high. YM, not really. I'm not looking for a great deal of retracement stroke consolidation here, but I am expecting it to trade sideways to down for a couple of weeks. And we will see how that goes, but at the moment it's a pretty promising start. And I've got to say, on crypto, if you catch the next webinar, the setup for this retracement here is really very, very nice indeed. Here, it just looks as though it's a good start, and the RSI 5 on the daily is strongly suggestive, but we'll see how that goes. Looking at DAX and ESTX, haven't quite retested the high on DAX. ESTX the same. Neither of them has gone down significantly so far. RTY hasn't really either. Most of this move up's been on tech. Most of this very, very relatively small move down so far is on tech as well. All right, let's have a look at the bigger picture charts. And right, on the bigger picture, I was drawing in these yellow lines talking about the RSI 5 hits at the 90 level in the past. It is quite a strong setup in terms of expecting to see some retracement of consolidation here. We'll see whether we get it, but I'm feeling we're off to a promising start. We did still have an RSI 14 sell signal which survived Friday, although it obviously had me wondering and almost didn't survive. So that looks pretty good, and I am liking some downside. And we've got an old RSI 14 sell signal on the 15-minute. I'm expecting to clear out that negative divergence here. Do we have a topping setup here really on SPX on 15 minutes? Got to go with no, not really. On the Qs, again, we were over 90. This is a very high reading on the RSI 5. So we've got an hourly RSI 14 and RSI 5 sell signals fixed. Tiny little double top here, kinda. But not of the greatest quality. But I'm liking a little retrace here. I am wondering about moves back to the support trend lines here. I am wondering whether we might possibly make it down as far as the 200 DMA. I've got that at 55.58, but that's kind of a long way. So, I mean, that would be 200 points. I'm a little skeptical about getting that low, but ideally, that would be a target to reach and backtest. And hold before going off into the retest of the high, which obviously, as I mentioned in the post, I'm also expecting. Looking at Dia, we've got a possible RSI 5 sell signal brewing, which is interesting. On the daily, on the hourly chart, no current divergence. On the 15-minute chart, no divergence either. We'd already broken the rising support there slightly. The other thing I was saying on the post on Friday was, am I seeing anything that looks like a completed pattern from the low? And I got to go with no. No, we don't absolutely have to have that. But generally speaking, when we're looking at a reversal, we do have that. And the fact that when you don't have it, it generally means the move's not done yet. So I tend to respect that because it's generally right. So I'm not expecting any kind of significant high here. I'm thinking we're going to go up into the high retest, certainly on SPX and the Qs, very possibly on Dia as well. And then I think we will see how it looks. But at the moment, the fact that we haven't really got any overall trend lines here is a warning. And it's a warning to not start thinking about a retracement yet, because chances are it's not going to happen. Well, a retracement can, or a full reversal, no. Although I am thinking we may well see lower than we've seen so far in 2025 later in the year, depending on circumstances and particularly what happens in the bond market. All right, looking at IWM, we've got a possible weak RSI 5 sell signal brewing there too. We're pretty close to declining resistance. We have a possible little level top here. It's really not bad. Might see that. If that was to play out, that would have a target in approximately the 200.5 area. So looking at the 15-minute chart, possible RSI 5 sell signal brewing. This is a nice little setup, nice little level top for what would be a very modest retracement, which is really all I'm looking for here. Looking at DAX, we've got another possible daily RSI 5 weeks sell signal brewing here too. We'll see how that goes. Nikkei has been seeing a bit of a retracement here. I'm not expecting to see it a great deal here either. Really, I'm not looking really for a big retracement anywhere, except for crypto, where of course the moves tend to be larger and more dramatic. Even then, I'm not looking for like low retests or anything. Just a decent little retracement and then a move on upwards. So we'll see how it goes. All right, great. Let's have a look. Now DX. DX, we've got a break below this rising support. Now, I've got to say, this is something I was talking about on the bigger picture yesterday. I was saying that looking at the euro, that looked like a bull flag, and now that bull flag's broken up. And I was saying that GBP USD looked like a bull flag, and that bull flag's broken up. I was saying that USD JPY looked like a head and shoulders. This is positively correlated with the dollar, so when these generally go down together. So we had a nice little head and shoulders formed here on USD JPY. That's broken down too. I think we might be about to go and retest the lows here on DX. So I put that in my market notes this morning, which I've already written. ZB, I was looking for a retest of this low here at 111.17, and we've seen it. Obviously, this was helped along by the Moody's downgrade, which personally I didn't think that was that important because it was the last of the three agencies to downgrade the US debt from AAA. But because we've got all the stuff in the background with the budget and the big tax cuts that would deliver and the large increase in borrowing that would deliver, that's really not what the bond market wants to hear this year. So I think we're having some jitters about fiscal outlook and the outlook for bonds. And honestly, they are well founded. I don't think America has a larger problem at the moment than what to do about debt. And this big, beautiful bill is not giving us a solution to that. CL, I'm still wondering about a retest of this high here. What I would say about CL is if we have a look at, so I've got other charts I'm working up after requests. One of them is the HO chart, which is heating oil. Look at the IHS here has already made target, and we've already got a nice flag. Now, this is the sort of thing that I've been talking about happening on the CL chart, but I'm just aware that it's already happened on the HO chart. And really, to make these targets on the upside for CL, we probably need to break up on HO. Now, particularly on gasoline, again, which I'm looking at, again, we got a very nice looking overall bear flag here. Bear flag wedge, it's peach. I'm wondering if we might see the CL one fail early. If we see a hard breaking conversion of the monthly pivot at 6102, then maybe that's just going to head down. And I've already got, as I said, nice looking bear flag, overall bear flag setups on heating oil and gasoline. Question is whether we're going to get one on crude oil, so we'll see. All right, NG, we've got a 60-minute buy signal. That's delivered absolutely nothing so far. And obviously, I was saying this might be a flag. The target for a flag would be a retest of the low. The extended target for this little level top is a retest of the low. I think we're going to go and retest the low. So that low's in the 3.0 area, and I'm expecting to see that sooner rather than later. I would not be at all surprised if it just continued down when it got there. On GC, we've got what looks like a bull flag for me. I'm wondering if we might go a little lower within the flag. Maybe this trend line here, which is currently in about the 1390 area. SI does not need to go lower. We've got a really nice looking falling wedge there, and it's perfect already. Might go see a retest, might see a little bullish underthrow, but I think that wedge is likely the pattern. Palladium. We saw a move and we almost made it to the double top targets, but then we saw this big rally. I'm slightly skeptical about it making these targets, but maybe. Platinum, we had a nice looking double top, but it never actually broke down. So we don't have any targets to the downside. At the moment, looking for a test of the monthly pivot at 95975 looks fairly ambitious. HG, we've got a falling wedge here. It's quite a nice one, and it's broken up. Watching to see if it follows through to the upside. If it does, we might see a retest of these highs here, just below 5.0. Okay, EURUSD is broken up from the level top. GBP USD, sorry, broken up from the bull flag. GBP's done the same. USD JPY is broken down from the head and shoulders. Not a lot to report on the others. On KC, obviously this is a nice wedge, and I think it's not too large to be a bull flag. So I'm leaning towards, if this sees a break up, if we can break and convert the monthly pivot back to support, then I think this may well go back and retest this high. And I think that would be the obvious target for it. So we will see. SB, possible IHS forming here, not particularly pretty, not particularly nice, and obviously on the bigger picture there's a cavernous yawning abyss below where a head and shoulder pattern that is currently breaking down may be looking. CC almost made it to the target in the 11,250 area, so we're seeing a bit of a pullback here. Chances are it's going to do it afterwards. On wheat, I've drawn in two little trending channels here. This one's a falling wedge. I think this one's a I think this one's either a channel or a very marginally contracting falling wedge. We've broken up from the first small one. I'm watching this resistance here in the 537 area. This could be a significant low forming here, but it doesn't look quite cooked. Corn, wondering about a retest of this low. This looks like a little bear flag. Soy, I've got a pretty nice looking rising wedge here that's breaking down. So I am wondering about that going down from here. That wouldn't surprise me. I'm a bit surprised soy has been as strong as it has been. Cotton, we are trying to convert the monthly pivot as resistance. We've got this little level bottom here, so that story is not yet in the bag. But if we see a hard reversal down from here, then we could see considerably lower. On lumber, bit of a rally here, still leaning towards the downside. Live cattle, we've got rising wedge, which is broken down here, could be delivering a larger retracement. So certainly wondering about the monthly pivot here at 199.78. And lean hogs, nice looking rising wedge. Next target would be this rising wedge support currently in the 101.3 area. All right, great. Okay, having a quick look at ES again. I'm leaning towards the downside. I'm looking for retracement consolidation over the next couple of weeks. I've got a lovely setup on crypto. We've had a nice start this week. I'm leaning towards that following through and not seeing any significant upside action for a few days. So we'll see how that goes. All right, well, my pleasure as always. I'll have everything posted ASAP, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow morning.